to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really crucial topic for pretty much any business looking to grow: international digital advertising and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about way more than just, translating your website. It's really a strategic must-have for success in today's global economy.
Absolutely.
We're navigating different cultures, complex regulations, technology adoption that varies wildly, economic factors. It can seem like a lot.
It is a lot, definitely. But, with the right approach, the potential rewards of reaching that global audience are just immense.
Right.
For businesses today, having a really well-thought-out, adaptable international digital strategy, well, it isn't just an advantage anymore. It's often the key to unlocking some serious new growth.
Exactly. So our mission today, our goal is to kind of distill the essentials from a recent report looking at exactly this. We want to focus on the core strategies, the best practices for taking your digital marketing efforts across borders.
Yeah, focusing on the practical side.
Practical applications, key concepts. We want to help you get a handle on the global stage without feeling totally snowed under by, all the information out there. So let's get started.
Okay, so maybe just to set the scene. What exactly is international digital marketing?
Good question.
At its core, it's really about the strategic use of your online channels. So websites, apps, social media, search engines, email to promote and sell, but across borders.
Okay.
It's taking those digital marketing principles we already know and applying them strategically, but on a global scale.
Sure.
Using digital media, data, technology in that global context.
And it's definitely not just running your usual campaigns, but in, say, French or German, right?
Yeah.
Where does the real complexity kick in?
Exactly, you nailed it. What makes international digital marketing so different is that incredible diversity you bump into. We're talking different cultural norms and values that completely shape how consumers behave.
Yeah.
Then you've got varying legal systems, different regulations governing advertising, data privacy, completely different economic conditions affecting purchasing power, and just fundamentally different ways people use and interact with tech online.
So what works brilliantly in one place might just flop elsewhere?
Or worse, cause offense.
Right.
So yeah, what resonates deeply in one country might completely miss the mark or even backfire somewhere else. And digital advertising, the paid part of this strategy, that becomes a really crucial tool for actually reaching these diverse international audiences through those online channels.
So, okay, it's complex, but why is it so important for businesses to actually tackle this complexity? What are the main benefits of going global with digital?
Oh, the advantages are huge, strategically vital, really, for long-term growth. Like the most obvious one is just access to a much, much larger customer base.
Right, sheer numbers.
Yeah, consider this. Some reports suggest something like 95% of the world's consumers live outside the U.S.
Wow, 95%. That really puts it in perspective.
It really does. And beyond just the numbers, going global lets you diversify your revenue streams. So you're not totally reliant on just your home market.
Which gives you more stability, right, if one region slows down.
Exactly. Greater financial stability. Plus, successfully setting up internationally gives your global brand recognition and authority a massive boost. Makes you more attractive to customers, sure, but also to partners, potential investors, even top talent.
Yeah, a well-known global brand definitely has more clout.
Totally. And there can be economies of scale, too. Like you might be able to adapt your core marketing materials for different markets, which is often cheaper than creating brand new stuff for every single region.
Okay.
And don't forget the competitive edge. Successfully navigating international markets can really set you apart from competitors who are maybe still stuck in their domestic market.
And compared to, say, traditional international marketing methods, print ads, TV across borders digital is usually more efficient.
Generally, yes. Digital channels often give you a more cost-effective and, crucially, more measurable way to connect with global consumers compared to those traditional methods. But, and this is really key, actually getting these benefits hinges entirely on having a well-defined, adaptable international digital strategy.
Right, strategy first.
Without a clear plan, you just risk wasting resources, spreading yourself too thin, and losing out to competitors who do have a focused global digital approach.
Strategy first, then execution.
Got it. Okay, the report we looked at also highlighted some major trends shaping international marketing, specifically looking ahead to 2025. What were some of the big shifts we should really be aware of?
Yeah, the global digital landscape is always changing, right? But several trends are really set to make a big impact. And leading the charge is definitely the continued and actually accelerating integration of AI and machine learning.
AI and ML, we hear about them constantly. How are they specifically changing things for international digital marketers?
Yeah.
In so many ways, really. Think about hyper-personalization tailoring messages and offers not just to individuals, but individuals within specific cultural contexts.
Wow, okay.
AI allows for much more sophisticated customer segmentation, helping businesses find those valuable niche audiences within big global markets. We're also seeing AI tools like, Jasper, ChatGPT being used to automate content creation, adapting it for different languages and cultural nuances.
So helping with the localization workload.
Exactly. Plus, AI is becoming critical for optimizing international ad campaigns, getting better ROI, and for enhancing customer service through AI chatbots that can handle queries in multiple languages, 247.
So it's really about making marketing smarter, more targeted, and more efficient on that global scale.
Precisely. And AI is also becoming indispensable for international market research and predictive analytics, helping businesses spot trends in different regions before they happen. We're even seeing a shift towards AI agents that could potentially execute marketing tasks autonomously.
That sounds quite futuristic.
It does, but it's coming.
Yeah.
However, there's a big challenge here. It's the tension between AI's need for vast amounts of data and the increasing focus on data privacy regulations like GDPR and CCPA.
Ah, the privacy paradox. Need data for AI, but need to respect privacy.
Exactly that. International marketers have to tread really carefully here. They need to find ethical, innovative ways to use AI while sticking to the rules. This often means using anonymized data, getting really clear first-party consent, and exploring what are called privacy-enhancing technologies, PTs, which allow for data analysis while minimizing exposure of personal info.
So it's a real balancing act.
Our critical one, yes.
Okay, what other big trends should international marketers be prepping for in 2025?
Well, linked to that is the continued and intensifying focus on data privacy itself and the big shift towards a cookieless future. Consumers are way more aware of their data rights now. And regulations like GDPR, CCPA, they're driving this global move towards privacy-first marketing. For businesses, this means prioritizing getting explicit consent, being totally transparent about how you use data, and having really robust data security across all your international operations.
And the end of third-party cookies. That's a massive deal, isn't it?
Huge. The looming death of third-party cookies is forcing marketers to quickly adopt alternative targeting strategies. This means a much bigger emphasis on building and using your own first-party data info you collect directly from customers.
Right, data you actually own.
Exactly. And also things like contextual advertising targeting based on the website content someone's viewing right now, and again, those privacy-enhancing technologies.
So moving away from tracking people across the web towards more direct relationships and relevant content placement, what about how people actually search for stuff online?
We're seeing really significant growth in voice search. Think smart speakers, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, becoming more popular in many markets. This means you need to optimize your international content for natural conversational language. It's not just about keywords anymore.
Right, how people actually talk.
Yeah. And this trend is bleeding into voice commerce, too. People actually making purchases using voice commands. That's gaining traction, particularly in certain regions.
Optimizing for spoken language. Interesting. And visual content. Is video still king?
Absolutely. Video continues to dominate, but specifically short-form video is just exploding. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
In a world of shrinking attention spans, these short, engaging, often user-generated style videos are incredibly effective for reaching international audiences. If you're not doing video marketing globally, you're probably missing out. Big time.
And making sure people can find those videos.
Right. Video SEO is becoming increasingly important too, making sure your video content is discoverable via search engines in different languages.
Short, engaging, discoverable video. Got it. How's social media evolving globally?
Social platforms are really moving beyond just being places to connect. They're key sources for news, platforms for deep brand research, and even direct channels for e-commerce now.
So they touch the whole customer journey.
Exactly. Your international social strategy needs to be integrated right across that entire journey, from awareness right through to loyalty building.
It's not just about getting likes anymore.
Definitely not. We're seeing trends like ongoing platform competition, think X versus Threads, the rising influence of authentic content from employees, EGC, and users, UGC, which often feels more credible than big influencers.
Right. Authenticity matters.
And things like social search and optimizing for how people discover things within social platforms themselves,
Right.
GEO, or generative engine optimization. Social media's role is maturing, demanding really sophisticated, integrated strategies tailored for each international market.
And what about the more sort of cutting-edge tech, AR, VR? Are they actually impacting international marketing yet?
Immersive tech like augmented and virtual reality are definitely moving beyond just gaming. We're seeing practical uses in international retail, virtual try-ons, letting customers anywhere see products on themselves.
Like clothes or makeup?
Exactly. Or visualizing furniture in your own room using AR, like IKEA does. While it's still early days for widespread adoption for many businesses, AR and VR offer really unique, engaging ways to connect with international customers and stand out.
Interactive experiences seem powerful. Any other key trends we should mention?
Two more quick words. First, the rising expectation for omnichannel marketing. Consumers everywhere now expect a totally seamless, consistent experience, whether they're on your website, your app, social media, email, or even in a physical store if you have one internationally.
Everything needs to connect.
Right, breaking down those silos between channels is crucial. And finally, to cut through all the noise online, interactive content is really gaining ground. Things like polls, quizzes, surveys, simple games. They grab attention, boost engagement, encourage participation, and, importantly, help you collect valuable first-party data directly from your international audience.
Lots happening in the global digital space. Okay, before we get into channels and campaigns, the report really hammered home the importance of a strong foundation, starting with solid research and smart market selection. Let's get into that.
Absolutely. You can't build a successful international digital presence on guesswork. It has to start with systematic, in-depth market research. Understanding those foreign markets before you commit serious resources. It's absolutely fundamental.
Why is that research phase so non-negotiable?
Well, several key reasons. First off, it lets you assess the basic viability. Is there actually a market for your product or service there? You need to understand the unique needs, preferences, behaviors of potential customers in that specific region.
Makes sense.
It also helps you thoroughly analyze the competition. Who's already there? What are they doing well? Where are the gaps? Research also helps you identify potential barriers to entry, cultural, regulatory, economic, logistical hurdles you might face.
So spotting the roadblocks early.
Exactly. And ultimately, all this understanding informs those crucial decisions about how much time, money, and effort you should actually invest in each potential international market. It stops you from throwing good money after bad.
So it's really about de-risking that global expansion. What are the main ways businesses conduct this kind of research effectively?
Broadly, there are two main types: secondary research and primary research. Secondary research means analyzing existing data that's already out there.
Stuff that's already published.
Right. Government statistics, reports from places like the World Bank or IMF, industry association data, academic studies, competitor analysis using public info, and tapping into commercial market intelligence databases. This is usually the most efficient place to start understanding a new market.
Okay, using existing information first. But what about getting fresh, direct insights from the market itself?
That's where primary research comes in, collecting new, original data directly from your target market. Common methods include surveys. You can do these online for broad reach using tools like SurveyMonkey, maybe via SMS in markets with high mobile use, or even face-to-face in some situations.
Surveys seem straightforward, but I imagine there are pitfalls internationally.
Oh, definitely. Crafting the questions needs extreme care. They have to be clear, concise, culturally neutral to avoid bias. Language is obviously huge. You need professional translation and localization. And cultural differences in how people respond are critical.
Like how direct people are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Willingness to criticize, directness, it varies hugely. Plus, things like internet access aren't uniform globally, affecting how you can run surveys. Using standardized scales like Likert scales can help compare opinions across cultures, though.
So even surveys need careful cultural thought. What other primary methods are useful internationally?
In-depth interviews and focus groups are great for qualitative insights, getting the why behind behaviors, understanding cultural nuances. But they're more resource-intensive.
Need skilled local people, right?
Yeah, skilled moderators who understand the local culture, professional translation. Recruiting the right participants can also be tricky, and in some cultures, people might be wary of participating. Then there's observational research, or ethnography, watching consumers in their natural environment.
Seeing what they actually do.
Right. Can yield amazing insights, but it's time-consuming, and you have to be careful about the observer effect, people changing behavior because they're watched.
So pros and cons to each method, especially across borders. What are the big overarching challenges businesses face with international research?
Language barriers are always a big one, needing accurate, culturally sensitive translation for everything.
Hmm.
Those cultural nuances we talked about impact how people interpret questions, their communication style.
Mm-hmm.
What's normal or desirable varies massively.
Mm.
Data comparability can be an issue too. Different countries collect and report data differently. Sometimes just accessing reliable data or finding representative people for primary research is tough in certain regions. And of course, it all takes time and money.
Sounds like partnering locally might be key. What are the best practices for navigating these hurdles?
First, have crystal clear research objectives. Know exactly what you need to find out. Second, gain a really deep understanding of the local context, cultural, economic, political. It's foundational.
Do your homework on the country itself.
Definitely. Third, seriously consider partnering with local research agencies or consultants. Their local knowledge is invaluable. Fourth, choose research methods appropriate for the specific culture and infrastructure. Fifth, while consistency helps comparison, be ready to adapt methods locally. And finally, maintain cultural sensitivity throughout, from design to analysis. Be respectful.
Makes total sense. Can't just barge in with your home market assumptions. Now, the report mentions specific data sources useful for the secondary research phase. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, commercial market intelligence providers offer a ton of valuable secondary data. Two big ones mentioned were Statista and Euromonitor International's Passport.
Statista and Passport, what do they offer specifically?
Statista is like a huge aggregator. It pulls statistics from loads of sources, market researchers, trade groups, governments, journals covering hundreds of industries and countries. It gives you quantitative data, reports, forecasts. They have a consumer insights tool too, looking at behavior, media use, brand preferences across many countries.
So good for a broad overview.
Exactly. Great starting point for sizing markets, spotting trends, getting a general feel, even if it's not always super in-depth on niche topics.
Okay, and Passport, how does that differ?
Passport, from Euromonitor, is more focused specifically on global consumer markets over 200 countries. It provides really detailed market research, market sizes, company and brand shares, deep dives into consumer lifestyles, demographics, economics, industry trends.
So more depth on consumer behavior.
Yeah, Passport really excels there, and on the competitive landscape within specific product categories. They also offer custom research if you need something very specific.
Sounds useful. Are these the only places to look for secondary data?
Oh, definitely not. They're valuable commercial sources, but don't overlook others. Government agencies like the US Census Bureau, Eurostat in Europe, or the National Stats offices in your target countries provide essential macro data.
Official statistics.
Right, and international organizations, IMF, World Bank, UN, OECD, ILO, they publish a wealth of economic and social data and analysis. Plus, there are industry-specific research firms, news aggregators like Factiva, even NGOs can have valuable data, especially in developing regions or on social environmental topics.
So lots of potential sources. With all these options, how do you make sure you're building a reliable picture, not just getting swayed by one report?
That's a really critical point, because different sources use different methods, cover different things, and might have their own biases. Relying on just one is risky. The report strongly recommends data triangulation.
Triangulation. Sounds technical.
It just means consulting multiple sources. Maybe use Statista for the broad view, Passport for deep consumer dives in key categories, government data for the macro context, maybe some industry reports, and ideally, supplement with primary research to validate findings and dig deeper.
Cross-referencing, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By comparing data from different angles, you spot inconsistencies, confirm trends, and build a much more reliable, robust understanding of the market. That leads to much stronger strategic decisions.
Okay, don't put all your eggs in one data basket. Got it. So once you've done the research, gathered the data, how do you start prioritizing? Which markets offer the best potential versus the risk? The report mentions some frameworks for this.
Yeah. Strategic frameworks give you a structured way to analyze market potential and risk. Two key ones highlighted were PESTLE analysis and the cage distance framework.
PESTLE, I think many people have heard of that. What does it help you look at internationally?
PESTLE is a tool for scanning the macro environment. It helps you examine those broad external factors that could impact your business in a specific market. The letters stand for political stability, trade policies, risk, economic growth, inflation, exchange rates, income levels, sociocultural demographics, lifestyles, norms, values, trends, technological infrastructure, innovation, adoption rates, legal employment law, consumer protection, data privacy, IP rights. and environmental climate, regulations, sustainability issues.
So a really wide lens on the external landscape. How does that help you choose markets?
It helps identify the big opportunities and threats in a country or region. By systematically looking at each factor, you get essential context for planning and can better gauge the overall attractiveness and risks. But you often need to synthesize info from various sources to make it really relevant to your business, not just a generic PESTLE.
Okay, good overview tool. What about the cage distance framework? That sounds more specific.
It is. Developed by Pankaj Gemawat, CAGE focuses on the distance between your home market and a target market across 4 key dimensions. The core idea is that this distance, not just market size or wealth, massively influences the challenges and risks of going international.
Cage, what do the letters stand for?
C is for cultural distance. Differences in language, ethnicity, religion, social norms, values, trust, even online behavior. Shared history, like colonial ties, can sometimes reduce this. High cultural distance impacts product acceptance, marketing management, everything.
Okay, culture first.
A is for administrative distance. Differences in political, legal, and institutional systems. Think lack of shared currency, trade barriers, different legal traditions, political stability, government policies towards business. G is for geographic distance. Not just how far away, but also lack of shared border, time zones, climate differences, quality of transport, and communication infrastructure. Affects logistics, costs, communication. And E is for economic distance, differences in wealth and income, GDP per capita, purchasing power. Also, disparities in labor costs, resource availability, infrastructure quality, access to information, affects demand, pricing, operations.
So it's looking much deeper than just, is this a rich country? It's about how different it is from home across these 4 areas.
Exactly. CAGE gives a much more nuanced view. It helps explain why, say, a geographically closer or culturally similar market, even if smaller economically, might actually be easier and less risky to enter initially than a huge market that's very distant on multiple CAGE dimensions.
Like the fast food example you mentioned earlier. U.S. company finding Mexico easier than Germany or Japan.
Precisely that kind of thinking. CAGE helps spot institutional voids and informs your entry strategy. But it has limitations. It can be subjective, it's a snapshot in time, doesn't give specific recommendations on its own, and needs good research. Best used alongside PESTLE and maybe Porter's 5 forces.
So how would you practically use Cage to help prioritize markets?
Think of it as a filter. After an initial screen based on size or growth potential, maybe using Statista or Euromonitor data, you apply CAGE to really analyze the challenges and risks linked to the distance on those 4 dimensions for each potential market.
Quantifying the difficulty in a way.
Sort of, yes. You can then rank markets based on this risk-adjusted opportunity. A smaller market with low CAGE distance might actually be a better bet, requiring fewer resources to get established, than a massive market with high distance everywhere. It helps you allocate resources strategically to where you have the highest probability of success.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Weighing reward against the actual difficulty of overcoming that distance. Now, once you've narrowed down your target markets, you need to figure out who specifically you're talking to within those markets. The report covered global market segmentation. Let's explore that.
Absolutely critical step. Market segmentation means dividing that broad, diverse international market into smaller, more manageable groups of consumers who share similar characteristics, needs, or behaviors.
So you can tailor your approach.
Exactly. Tailor products, messaging, strategy for greater relevance and impact. Trying to treat a whole country as one uniform blob rarely works.
What are the main ways to segment internationally? Is it just country by country?
Well, you can think about it in 2 ways. Macro segmentation is grouping whole countries or regions based on broad factors like geography, economic development, maybe some basic demographics. But microsegmentation focuses on identifying groups of individuals across borders who share finer characteristics.
So finding similar types of people in different countries.
Precisely. Macro is simpler initially, but risks ignoring diversity within countries and similarities between them. Often, a hybrid approach is best considering country-level factors, but also looking for those specific cross-border consumer segments.
Okay, a blend. What are the fundamental bases or criteria marketers use for this segmentation?
The 4 classic bases apply internationally too: geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioral. Geographic is location, continent, country, region, city size, climate, density. Foundational for things like distribution, product adaptations like McDonald's regional menus, and basic targeting.
The where.
Right. Demographic is objective, measurable stuff. Age, gender, income, education, occupation, family size, ethnicity, nationality, religion. Widely used because the data is often available. think targeting age groups, tailoring pricing by income. But you need accurate data for each market.
The who? What about the why they buy?
That's where psychographic segmentation comes in. This groups people based on subjective things. Lifestyle, values, attitudes, interests, opinions, personalities, social class. Helps you understand the motivations behind purchases. Are they environmentally conscious? Health-focused? What are their core cultural values? Individualism versus collectivism, for example.
Deeper motivations. And the last one, behavioral.
Behavioral looks at people's actual actions and relationship with the product. Purchase history, spending habits, how often they use it, the specific benefits they seek, brand loyalty, whether they're new users or regulars, online engagement, even the purchase occasion. You analyze their motivations and how culture influences buying habits here.
So what they actually do, are there other types of segmentation too?
Yeah, for B2B, you'd use firmographic segmentation company characteristics like industry, size, revenue. Technographic looks at tech usage. You might segment by specific needs or the perceived value people seek. The general process is define your market, do the research, identify the best bases for your business, create customer personas for key segments, and then develop tailored strategies for each persona.
Personas sound useful for making these segments feel real. What's the key to making international segmentation really effective?
The most powerful strategies usually layer multiple bases together. Don't just rely on geography. It hides too much variation. Demographics alone lack motivation. Psychographics behavior can be harder to scale targeting for. The strength is in the combination.
Like the example in the report.
Exactly. Urban millennial professionals in Southeast Asia who prioritize convenience and are heavy mobile shoppers. That combines geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioral factors.
Giving you a really sharp picture.
Precisely. This allows for much more tailored messaging, product adaptation, channel selection, ultimately leading to better ROI on your international marketing spend.
Makes perfect sense, creating that clear picture of exactly who you need to connect with in each market. Okay, so you've researched, you've selected markets, you've segmented your audience. Next big question, where do you actually reach them online? Let's dive into the core digital marketing channels for international campaigns.
Right, so a digital marketing channel is basically any online platform or medium you use to communicate, engage with, and influence your target audience. And the digital landscape offers this vast, constantly changing array of channels.
Each with its own strengths and weaknesses, I guess.
Exactly. Each has its own characteristics, typical audience demographics, how people engage on it, making them better or worse suited for different stages of the customer journey, different marketing goals, especially in an international context.
Give us a quick rundown of the main digital marketing channels businesses should be thinking about internationally.
Sure. Key ones include search engine marketing, SEM, that's both organic SEO and paid PPC ads on places like Google and Bing. Social media marketing across all the platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, X, Pinterest. Email marketing for direct comms and nurturing. Content marketing, creating valuable blogs, videos, infographics.
Your own website too, right?
Absolutely. Your website and specific landing pages are your central hub. Mobile marketing apps, SMS, mobile optimized sites. Then there's paid advertising beyond search and social display ads, video ads, native ads, audio ads, influencer marketing, affiliate marketing, podcasts or a channel, digital PR, digital partnerships, even digital messaging platforms like WhatsApp.
That's a lot of options. Okay, let's narrow down onto the paid side specifically. What are the key digital advertising channels for reaching international audiences?
Right. Digital advertising is paying for those promotional placements.
Yeah.
It helps to think about the medium, the ad format like text or video, and the channel, the platform like Google search results or a Facebook feed. So the main advertising channels internationally are search advertising, mostly text ads on search engine results pages, SERPs, including things like Google shopping ads, great for targeting high purchase intent users.
People actively looking.
Exactly. Then display advertising, visual ads, banners on websites and apps, often through networks like the Google Display Network. More for broader brand awareness, usually lower intent than search. Includes things like native ads that blend in. Social media advertising, paid placements on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, etc. Huge range of formats. Amazing targeting based on use day. Good for awareness, engagement, direct response. Video advertising ads before, during, after online videos on YouTube, social feeds, streaming services, OTT, CTV. Very powerful for storytelling.
And beyond those big four, any other paid channels to consider internationally?
Oh yeah. Mobile app advertising, running ads within apps. Audio advertising in podcasts. Music streaming like Spotify. Digital out-of-home, DOH, digital billboards, email advertising sponsoring newsletters, and paid partnerships with influencers or affiliates.
So a massive toolkit of paid options. How on earth do you decide which ones are right for reaching your specific audiences in different countries? What criteria should you use?
That selection process is a really critical strategic decision. And it's definitely not just picking what's popular back home. It's about carefully aligning your channel choices with the specific characteristics and online habits of your target audience in each international market and with your overall business goals.
Tailoring it market by market seems vital.
Crucial. First off, you need to really understand your target audience behavior in each key market. Where do they actually spend time online? What are the dominant social platforms, search engines, news sites there? How do they interact with brands online? What content formats do they prefer, video, text, interactive?
Like WeChat in China, Line in Japan, Thailand, you mentioned?
Exactly. Knowing those local preferences is step one. Then your marketing objectives are paramount. Are you trying to build awareness, generate leads, drive direct sales? Different channels excel at different things. Display, social, video are often good for awareness. Search, email are strong for leads and sales.
Okay, what else?
The cultural context of each market. Are certain platforms trusted more? Are certain formats or communication styles preferred? Think direct versus indirect communication. The nature of your product or service matters too. Complex B2B might lean towards LinkedIn and in-depth content. Visual products might favor Instagram, Pinterest, video.
And the practical stuff like budget.
Absolutely. Your budget and resources are huge factors. Channel costs vary wildly, PPC versus organic social, for example. And resource needs differ, video production versus copywriting. Choose a mix that's effective and affordable. Also, look at the competitive landscape. What are competitors doing successfully internationally? Where are they weak? That can reveal opportunities. And finally, always be aware of the regulatory environment. Are platforms banned? Are there specific ad rules in that country or industry?
So it's a real balancing act: audience, goals, culture, product, budget, competition, regulation.
Exactly. And a key strategic decision within that is balancing the use of major global platforms, Google, Meta versus dominant regional platforms, WeChat, Naver, Line, VK.
Global scale versus local dominance.
Right. Global platforms offer scale, often standardized tools, easier management maybe, but regional platforms often have deeper penetration, more cultural resonance in key markets. Ignoring them can mean missing huge chunks of your audience.
So you probably need both.
Often, yes. A smart international strategy usually involves a portfolio approach strategically, using global platforms for broad reach and consistency, and key regional ones for deep penetration and cultural relevance. It adds complexity, needing platform-specific knowledge, but is often essential for maximum impact in priority markets.
Thinking globally and locally in your channel mix. Okay, let's get specific now about where you actually run these ads. Navigating that global advertising platform ecosystem.
Right. Successful execution means understanding the capabilities, targeting, costs, and best practices of the various platforms, both the global giants and those crucial regional players. Let's start with the big two, Google Ads and Meta Ads.
Google Ads, king of search. What are its key international capabilities?
As the dominant global search engine, Google Ads is pretty much indispensable for reaching users with high intent internationally. For international use, it offers really extensive location, targeting countries, regions, cities, postcodes, radius targeting, even bulk uploads. Crucially, it lets you distinguish between people in a location versus people interested in it. Plus language targeting, device targeting. It's very granular.
And targeting beyond location and language, what options are there?
Loads. For search, it's primarily keyword targeting. On the display network, you can target audiences based on demographics, in-market behavior, people actively researching purchases, affinities, custom audiences from your website, app activity, or customer lists. You can also target based on content-specific websites, topics, keywords on the display network. And they have optimized targeting, using AI to find converters beyond your initial settings, though that's best for conversion-focused campaigns.
Lots of levers to pull. What about ad formats on Google internationally and the cost?
Ad formats are pretty consistent globally. Text ads and shopping ads for search, banners, rich media, responsive ads for display, various video formats for YouTube, skippable, non-skippable, bumpers, discovery, masthead, shorts ads, demand gen campaigns. Cost is mostly pay-per-click, PPC, via auction.
And costs vary a lot.
Hugely. Depends on the network. Search is usually higher, keyword competition, your quality score, the region, but it's generally quite transparent. For international best practice, localization is key. Translate keywords, properly use native speakers, understand regional terms, localize ad copy. Use location assets. Exclude irrelevant locations. Adjust bids by geo-performance. Use conversion bidding where possible. Test optimized targeting carefully.
Okay, Google covers search and display extensively. What about Meta ads, Facebook and Instagram? Key international features there.
Meta offers just enormous global reach, billions of users on Facebook and Instagram. Crucial for awareness, community building, direct response, and tons of markets. They have broad global reach, except we're blocked, obviously. Robust location targeting, country, region, city, and language targeting.
And how can you target audiences specifically on Meta internationally?
Meta's targeting is incredibly granular due to their user data. You've got core audiences, demographics, interests, behaviors, custom audiences for retargeting website visitors via the pixel, app users, video viewers, people who engage with your content, uploaded lists, lookalike audiences to find people similar to your best customers, and Advantage Plus using AI for automated audience finding.
Sounds powerful. What about ad formats and costs on Meta?
Huge variety of formats. Single image, video, carousel, collection ads for e-commerce, stories, reels, messenger ads, multiple placements across their platforms. Cost is also auction-based. Varies by objective, targeting, placement, creative quality competition. Average CPCs on Meta can often be lower than Google search, and conversion rates can be strong.
Best practices for Meta internationally.
Define your objectives clearly first. Awareness, sales.cam. Leverage custom and lookalike audiences heavily. A/B test everything, creatives, formats, audiences. Localize ad copy and visuals meticulously. Monitor performance closely. And understand the difference between just boosting a post and using the full ads manager for proper campaigns.
Okay, Google for intent, Meta for broad social reach and demographics. What about B2B? The report highlighted LinkedIn ads.
Yeah, LinkedIn is the dominant global platform for reaching professionals. Its unique strength is targeting based on professional attributes. Internationally, it offers global reach and geographic targeting down to city level.
But the real power is the professional targeting.
Exactly. Job experience, title, function, seniority, skills, company, name, industry size, education, demographics, less granular than Meta, interests, groups. Plus matched audiences, website visitors via the Insight tag, account targeting with company lists, contact targeting with email lists.
What about ad formats and costs on LinkedIn? Seems like it would be pricier.
It generally is, yes. Due to the valuable B2B audience, formats include sponsored content in the feed, image, video, carousel, document ads, sponsored messaging in mail, dynamic ads, text ads. They also have integrated lead gen forms. Cost is auction-based. Objectives range from awareness to conversion. Pricing models include CPC, CPM, CPV, CPS for messages. There's usually a minimum daily budget.
And measuring success for B2B on LinkedIn.
They have Campaign Manager, the Insight tag for website tracking, a Revenue Attribution Report, RAR, trying to link marketing to business outcomes, and a Conversions API. We're sending first-party conversion data back, potentially reducing costs per lead. For international B2B best practice, define clear B2B objectives, sequels, thought leadership. Use precise professional targeting, align KPIs with sales, test formats. Document ads for white papers are great. Leverage RAR and Conversions API for ROI. Use website demographics and balance brand building with lead gen.
Okay, LinkedIn for the global professional world. Now, what about reaching younger demographics? TikTok ads got a lot of buzz.
TikTok's growth has been explosive, right? Over 1 billion users globally, skewed younger, Gen Z millennials, but growing older too. High engagement, very popular in places like Latin America.
International features on TikTok.
Wide global availability, location targeting, country, region, city, DMA, language targeting.
And targeting options, similar to Meta.
Similar concepts, but tailored to TikTok. Demographics, interests, based on content interaction, behaviors, video creator interaction, purchase intent, device, plus custom and lookalike audiences. Their algorithm also does a lot of broad targeting optimization automatically.
Ad formats, mostly video, I assume.
Primarily video, yeah, designed to feel native. In feed ads, skippable. Spark ads, boosting organic creator content, very popular. Top view, premium, app open. Brand takeover, high impact, app open. Branded hashtag challenges, UGC focus. Branded effects, AR filters. Collection ads, products. Playable ads, interactive. Carousel, even search ads now.
Costs on TikTok, still relatively low.
Bidding system, so it varies. Estimates put average CPCs and CPMs often lower than some other platforms, and minimum budgets can be quite low. But for international success on TikTok, creative is everything.
How so?
It needs to be authentic, engaging, entertaining, follow trends, feel like UGC. Spark ads help with authenticity. Tailor for vertical, 9.16. Define clear objectives. Test formats and creatives like crazy. Optimize for mobile. It's a very distinct creative environment.
So, Creative is king on TikTok, especially internationally. Now, beyond these global giants, the report stressed looking at essential regional platforms in key markets. WeChat, Naver, Line, VK. Let's touch on those.
Absolutely crucial. You can't just rely on Google and Meta everywhere. To really succeed in certain high-value regions, you have to understand and use the dominant local platforms.
Let's start with WeChat in China. It's basically the internet for many people there, right? What are its key marketing
You
features?
nailed it. It's indispensable. Messaging, social moments, payments, WeChat Pay, e-commerce, mini programs, brand interactions, official accounts, video channels. It's everything. If you want to reach Chinese consumers, WeChat is non-negotiable.
Advertising options.
Lots. Official accounts for content service, mini programs for e-commerce loyalty, ads and moments feeds, banner ads and articles, ads within mini programs and channels, search ads. Targeting includes location, demographics, interests. KOL influencer marketing is huge. Pay integrations is vital. QR codes are everywhere.
Best practices for WeChat.
Deep localization Mandarin, cultural sensitivity. Use official accounts for rich content. Moments channels for visuals. Leverage mini programs pay. Use QR codes creatively. Build relationships. We are friends. Navigate the specific policies carefully. Consider CRM integration. Costs can be significant for broad reach, often CPM-based.
Okay, WeChat is China, South Korea. Naver's the big one there.
Dominant search engine, yeah. Main gateway for info, news, shopping, blogs, Naver blog, communities, Naver Cafe. Critical for reaching South Korea.
Add features on Naver.
Diverse suite. Search ads, PowerLink. Display ads, GFA across Naver. Shopping search ads, content ads, power content, brand search ads, location-based ads, sophisticated targeting.
Things to watch out for on Naver.
Understand their unique SRP structure. Lots of integrated Naver services. Korean keyword research is key. Fewer keyword match types than Google. Actively use Blog Cafe for content. SEO. Naver loves its own content. Stricter ad review. Conversion tracking might be less automated. Use their data lab for trends. Costs are PPC for search, but CTRs can sometimes be lower than Google due to that integrated SRP.
Moving to Southeast Asia and Japan Line.
Leading messaging app and platform in Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, big in Indonesia too. Combines messaging, social, timeline Viome, payments, pay, e-commerce, news, entertainment. Crucial for B2C in those markets.
Marketing features online.
Line ads platform runs ads across timeline, news, wallet, etc. Banners, videos, vertical for Viome, carousels. Targeting includes demos, behavior. Official accounts are vital for direct engagement messaging, promos, support. Promotion stickers, branded stickers are super popular for engagement and gaining followers. Line Pay for in-app transactions.
Best practices for Line.
Manage your official account well. Create culturally relevant stickers. Integrate pay. Develop interactive content. Use AI chatbots. Personalize messages. Adapt for Viome. Tailor for Japan versus Thailand versus Taiwan cultures differ.
And finally, VK, VContact for Russia.
Largest social network in Russia, widely used in Russian-speaking countries. Primary platform for interaction, news, entertainment there.
Advertising on VK.
Unified VK ads platform. Comprehensive targeting. Location, down to radius, demographics, interest behavior, recent activities, search, key phrases, device, objective-driven campaigns. Smart Pixel for website tracking, automated bidding.
Best practices for VK.
Choose the right objective. Use detailed targeting. Implement the Smart Pixel. Adhere strictly to their ad policies. Formatting, images, content restrictions. Ensure cultural appropriateness for the Russian-speaking audience.
So for each key region, there's often a dominant local player you just can't ignore. It's not a one-size-fits-all platform world. Okay, we have a good handle on the platforms now. How do you actually plan a successful international campaign?
Right, the planning stage. The absolute foundation of any successful international campaign is setting clear, well-defined objectives before you do anything else. These objectives are your North Star. They guide everything: channel choice, budget, measurement, and they need to be smart.
SMART goals remind us what that means again in this context.
Sure. SMART stands for specific, clear, unambiguous. Measurable, defined KPIs to track progress. Website visits, conversion rate, CPA. Achievable, realistic given your resources and the market. Relevant, contributes to your overall business goals. And timely, has a defined time frame or deadline.
Can you give a couple of concrete examples of SMART international objectives?
Yeah, instead of just increase awareness in Germany, a SMART goal might be increase website traffic from Germany by 20% in the next 6 months via SEO and content marketing. Or for e-commerce, achieve a 10% increase in online sales in France next quarter through localized Google shopping campaigns. For B2B, Generate 150 MQLs from UK companies, over 50 employees within 12 months using LinkedIn ads and a white paper.
That precision makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And you must tailor these smart objectives to the specifics of each international market. An achievable sales target in the UK might be totally different from one in Southeast Asia, for example.
Okay, clear, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals tailored per market. What's the next critical step in planning?
Developing an integrated cross-channel strategy. Customers today don't interact with brands on just one channel, right? Their journey is messy. Non-linear involves search, social, email, website, maybe apps.
All over the place.
Exactly. So your international strategy needs to be integrated across all relevant channels to provide a seamless, consistent experience. Consistent brand messaging, tone, value proposition everywhere.
Why is integration so important? Why not just run separate campaigns?
Because siloed efforts just don't reflect how customers behave. Integration creates synergy, amplifying the impact. Think awareness via display, research via SEO content, retargeting on social, conversion via email. It all works together.
Reinforcing the message.
Right. Builds trust, enhances recall, improves conversion rates. Isolated campaigns just don't achieve that.
So how do you build this integrated strategy internationally?
Start by deeply understanding the customer journey in each target segment. Map their paths, key touchpoints, channel preferences at each stage, awareness, consideration, conversion, retention. Then, define clear roles for each channel in your strategy. What's its main job? Social for awareness. Search for intent. Email for nurturing.
Assigning tasks to each channel.
Precisely. Ensure message consistency, core message adaptable but consistent in voice value. Implement robust cross-channel tracking, use analytics, UTMs to see how channels contribute to conversions, attribution. Allocate budget strategically based on roles, reach, expected contribution. Maybe use a framework like RACI, reach, act, convert, engage. And try to centralize management and data use platforms for a unified view of performance. The bottom line is integration leads to higher ROI than siloed efforts. Invest in the tools, analytics, CRM, automation, and processes for coordination.
Okay, integrated consistent messaging across channels. Now, when communicating internationally, language is obvious, but it's much deeper than just translation, isn't it? Let's get into bridging cultures with localization and transcreation.
Absolutely. Getting the cultural adaptation wrong is probably one of the most damaging mistakes in international marketing. Cultural adaptation or sensitivity means really understanding and respecting the diverse norms, values, beliefs, traditions, etiquette, communication styles in each market.
And it's not just about being polite.
No, it's strategically vital for building trust and credibility, increasing relevance so your message actually resonates, getting higher engagement and conversions, and crucially, avoiding misunderstandings or causing offense.
And it goes beyond words.
Way beyond. It's visuals, colors, symbols, tone, humor, product features, packaging, payment methods, the whole user experience. Everything needs to be considered through that cultural lens. Frameworks like Hofstede's cultural dimensions can help understand these differences.
Now, the report distinguished clearly between localization and transcreation. Can you break those down? When do you use each?
Okay, so translation is the basic conversion of text, focusing on semantic meaning, often not enough for marketing. Localization, or L10N, is much broader. It's adapting the entire product or content for a specific locale, language plus region.
More than just words.
Right. It includes adapting datetime formats, currency, units, addresses, spelling, images, layout for text expansion or right-to-left languages, legal notices, making it feel natural and functional for that locale. Essential for websites, software, apps, e-commerce. Think Nike websites or McDonald's regional menus.
So localization makes it work properly and feel right locally. What's transcreation then? Sounds even more involved.
It is. Transcreation is much more creative. It blends translation and creation. The goal isn't literal accuracy, but recreating the original message's intent, style, tone, and emotional impact in the new cultural context.
Evoking the same feeling.
Exactly. Even if the words or visuals end up quite different. It needs deep cultural understanding and creative copywriting skills, often specialized agencies. Crucial for advertising slogans, taglines, marketing headlines, brand names, video scripts, anything where emotional connection is key.
Like a Farrah Coke or I'm loving it examples.
Perfect examples. They weren't just translated, they were adapted to capture the same feeling locally. And we've all seen examples where literal translation failed miserably. Pepsi's Come Alive in China, KFC's Finger Licking Good. Transcreation avoids those disasters.
So translation for meaning, localization for function and cultural fit, transcreation for emotional impact, vital distinction. What are best practices for adapting messaging and creative images, colors, symbols internationally?
For messaging and tone, adapt formality. Humor rarely translates. Directness, indirectness. Avoid literal translation of idiom slang. Align with local values. Avoid taboos. Use relevant local references accurately. Test with locals. For imagery, select images models reflecting local demographics preferences. Ensure cultural appropriateness. Avoid stereotypes. Be mindful of nonverbal cues. Use inclusive imagery. Adapt layouts for text expansion aesthetics.
Colors and symbols too, right? They can mean different things.
Hugely different. Research color connotations carefully: white, purity versus mourning; red, luck versus danger; green, black. Safer to use neutral colors for core branding. Adapt campaign colors locally. Same for symbols and icons. Verify local meanings. Use universal symbols where possible. Adapt otherwise. Overall best practice: thorough research, collaborate with local experts, translators, consultants, teams, involve the target audience in review, test concepts, and always balance core brand identity with local relevance.
Deep cultural homework is essential. The report also had a website and UX/UI localization checklist. What were the key takeaways for localizing your online presence effectively?
Yeah, website localization, it's about adapting the whole user experience, not just text. It's crucial for trust, engagement, conversions. The checklist covered a lot, but key areas include planning and strategy, defining markets, languages, goals, budget, tech team, SMS team, workflow, content adaptation, high-quality translation, right, transcreation, tone, localized keywords, cultural relevance, visual and design adaptation, local image duplications, colors, layout for text expansion RTL.
And the technical side, internationalization.
Exactly. Technical localization, or I-18N. This is fundamental. Includes URL structure, subdirectories usually best for SEO, reflying tags, formatting dates times currency units, handling text expansion, character encoding fonts, adapting forms, mobile responsiveness, accessibility, multimedia localization, dubbing, subtitling, video, audio, recreating graphics, thorough testing and QA, linguistic, functional, UI/UX, cross-browser device, user acceptance testing with local testers, legal and compliance, local privacy policies, T&Cs, ad claims, and post-launch optimization, monitoring, feedback, continuous improvement. A key point was building for internationalization, I-18N. From the start, during website design, makes future localization way easier and cheaper.
So planning for global from day one saves headaches later. Okay, strategic and cultural aspects covered. Let's talk operational complexities when you go international.
Right, expanding internationally brings unique operational hurdles. Key areas are dealing with economic factors, navigating global data privacy rules, and handling international payment processing.
Let's start with economics. How do things like inflation and exchange rates mess with international marketing plans?
They have a huge impact. High inflation erodes purchasing power. Fluctuating exchange rates hit your import costs, export pricing, profit margins, investment values, adds volatility, and makes budgeting tricky.
Right.
Economic growth, GDP, unemployment, consumer income, they all affect spending patterns and affordability. Even supply chain stability and government policies play a role. So you often need to adapt your marketing mix: product, price, place, distribution, promotion for each market's economic reality.
Adjusting pricing, maybe product features.
Exactly. And the volatility, especially with inflation and currency, means rigid annual budgets don't work well internationally. You need agility.
Yeah.
Regular monitoring, flexibility to reallocate funds based on performance and economic shifts, maybe contingency funds. That's key for resilient campaigns.
Stay flexible, watch the numbers. What about the legal minefield of global data privacy? GDPR, CCPA, sounds complex.
It is complex and fragmented. GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California, LGPD in Brazil, PIPEDA in Canada, many others popping up. Compliances and optional fines are huge. Reputational damage is real.
What are the core principles marketers need to know?
They often share ideas like needing a lawful basis for processing data, purpose limitation, only use data for stated reasons, data minimization, only collect what you need, transparency, user consent, GDPR opt-in versus CCPA opt-out often, data security and user rights, access, correct, delete, etc.
Key differences to watch for.
GDPR is generally broader in scope, stricter on consent than CCPA. You also have things like the Privacy Directive, cookie consent. For marketers, it means updated privacy policies, consent banners, CMPs, justifying data collection, impacts on targeting, especially third-party data, robust security, handling user rights requests. Platforms like Google Ads have features to help, like restricted data processing.
The best practices for navigating this.
Monitor regulations constantly. Get legal counsel. Adopt privacy by design. Be transparent. Use effective CMPs, do regular audits, train your teams. Ultimately, embracing privacy builds trust and can be a competitive advantage, not just a burden.
Treat privacy as a positive, not just a compliance chore. Okay. And for international e-commerce, payments sound like another big hurdle. What are the challenges and solutions there?
Cross-border payments are critical but tricky. Huge challenges compared to domestic. Key issues include diverse payment preferences. Credit cards aren't king everywhere. Locals prefer e-wallets, Alipay, WeChat Pay in China.
Mm,
Bank transfers, BNPL, regional systems, PIX in Brazil. Not offering local options, high card abandonment.
right. Pay how they want to pay.
Exactly. Then currency conversion and exchange rate risk pricing locally, accounting complexity, financial risk from volatility, higher transaction costs internationally, bank fees, network fees, gateway fees, conversion fees, increased fraud risk and lower approval rates, more scrutiny, lower approvals sometimes reported, lost sales from false declines, higher chargebacks, regulatory and compliance complexity of varying financial tax laws, VAT, GST, data security, PCI DSS, no global standard, and technical integration, integrating multiple gateways, different settlement times, infrastructure reliability.
Wow, that's a lot. How do businesses overcome these payment challenges?
Key solutions. Offer localized payment options by partnering with global PSPs supporting local methods. Implement a unified payment infrastructure for centralized management, reconciliation reporting. Manage currency risk price locally. Use dynamic currency conversion, DCC, or hedging. Enhance security and fraud prevention, PCI DSS. Encryption, tokenization, 3D secure AI fraud tools. Improve approval rates. Local methods help optimize authorization with your PSP. Ensure compliance with legal tax experts and compliant partners. Optimize the checkout experience. Seamless, secure, localized language currency, familiar methods. Maintain clear policies on shipping returns. Crucially, localizing payments is a massive conversion lever. It builds trust, reduces friction, cuts abandonment. Investing in payment localization boosts international revenue.
So getting payments right is fundamental for international sales. Okay, we've covered strategy, culture, operations. Let's focus now on actually executing these global campaigns effectively.
Right? Effective execution hinges on strong coordination, especially with teams spread across geographies, time zones, cultures. Clear structures, the right tools, and best practices for coordination are essential.
What kinds of team structures do businesses use for global marketing?
You see a few models. Centralized. HQ dictates strategy. Minimal local adaptation. Good for consistency, scale, but can lack local relevance. Decentralized. Local regional teams have lots of autonomy, high local relevance, but risks fragmentation, duplication. The most common is often a hybrid or matrix structure.
Best of both worlds.
Tries to be.
So-
Central sets strategy guidelines. Local adapts execution. Needs really strong communication. The best structure depends on the business, how much localization is needed, company culture.
Makes sense. What are the best practices for making that coordination actually work, regardless of structure?
Clear roles and responsibilities. Shared goals and KPIs. Open, regular communication calls, check-ins, transparency. Standardized processes and documentation workflows, templates, guides, glossaries, central repositories, cultural competency training, cross-functional collaboration, marketing, sales, product in each market, and crucially, leveraging local expertise empower local teams within the guidelines. Sales alignment is especially vital in B2B.
Communication and clear processes again. What about tools? What tech helps global teams coordinate?
Technology is vital. Communication platforms like Slack, Teams, Zoom, project management software like Asana, Trello, Monday.com, translation management systems, TMS, specialized software to centralize and automate localization, crucial for efficiency and consistency.
Yeah.
Digital asset management, BAM systems for storing and sharing approved brand assets, including localized versions.
CRM too.
Definitely. Customer relationship management, CRM, for a unified customer view across markets, helps marketing sales alignment. Content marketing platforms, CMPs, to manage content creation and distribution. And analytics and reporting dashboards, Google Analytics, specialized tools for a shared view of performance, enabling data-driven decisions. Effective tech integration is fundamental. Manual processes just don't scale globally. Investing in the right stack communication, project, PMS, DAM, CRM, analytics enables effective global marketing.
Tech as the enabler. Okay, let's talk money. How should businesses approach allocating their international marketing budget?
Effective budget allocation across countries, channels, campaigns is key to maximizing ROI. It's complicated by exchange rates, varying media costs, market potential, localization needs. The budgeting process usually involves setting SMART goals, determining the overall budget, maybe percent of revenue, developing the marketing plan, estimating costs, allocating funds, then tracking and measuring spend and performance rigorously.
Best practices for that allocation.
Be audience-centric, spend where your audience is in each market. Be goal-oriented, investments should directly support your objectives. Be data-driven, analyze performance. Shift budget to what works. Diversify channels for an omni-channel presence. Prioritize high ROI activities, especially bottom funnel. Maintain flexibility and agility, have contingency funds, review and reallocate regularly. Allocate for experimentation. Align with sales, and consider regional budget management, separate budgets for countries' regions for better control and optimization.
So be strategic, data-driven, and flexible. We mentioned translation management systems, TMS again. Can you quickly recap the specific benefits and how they fit into the workflow?
Sure. A TMS is software to centralize, automate, and streamline localization. Key benefits. Automation efficiency, speeds up time to market. Centralized platform collaboration, real-time teamwork. Enhanced quality consistency via translation memory, terminology management, QA tools. Scalability handles more content languages easily. Integration capabilities connects to CMS, code, design tools, CRM, etc. for automated content flow. And reporting analytics tracks progress, costs, quality. The workflow integration usually involves preparation, content extraction, project setup in TMS, translation using TM, term basis, maybe MTPE, review editing, QA checks, approval, content reintegration back into source systems, and updating the TM term base for future use. Essentially, TMS makes localization manageable, efficient, and scalable, crucial for global marketing.
A key piece of the global tech stack. Okay, final big challenge. Balancing that global brand consistency with local adaptation. How do you get that right?
It's the classic conundrum. Too much standardization alienates locals. Too much localization dilutes the brand and hikes costs. Finding the balanced localization, thinking global, acting local is key.
How do you do that in practice?
Define your core brand elements that must be consistent everywhere. Mission, values, logo, core identity. Identify areas where adaptation is needed and beneficial based on research. Develop a flexible framework, global guidelines, but local flexibility. Leverage local insights from your teams. Prioritize transcreation for key creative messages. Use tech like TMSDAM to manage assets. And continuously monitor brand perception and performance locally, gathering feedback and adjusting. Successful brands like Coca-Cola do this, well-consistent core brand, but highly localized campaigns.
Know what's fixed, know where to flex, listen to local teams. Sounds like a solid approach.
It's the most practical way, yes.
Well, this has been a really comprehensive deep dive into international digital advertising and marketing. We've covered a massive amount, from the vital need for research and cultural adaptation like localization and transcreation, to the essential role of technology, coordinated teams, and that constant balancing act between global consistency and local relevance.
It's definitely complex. But as we've discussed, it's just so incredibly important now. A strategic, well-researched, thoughtfully executed international digital approach isn't really optional anymore for growth-focused businesses. It's fundamental.
And while we've given a high-level overview today, remember that each of these areas really deserves deeper exploration based on your specific business, your goals, and your target international market.
Absolutely. Every market is unique. A tailored approach is always going to be the most effective.
So let's leave you with a final thought to chew on. With digital changing so fast and markets becoming ever more connected globally, how will businesses that fail to prioritize sophisticated, culturally aware international digital marketing strategies really fare in the next few years?
Or maybe put it another way, what single aspect of international digital marketing, if you could truly master it and implement it effectively, do you think would give your organization the biggest, most sustainable competitive advantage on the global stage?
Something to think about. Join us next time for another deep dive.